A very good afternoon to you. Welcome back. It is the sunny side on 92.3 Nigeria Info. 12 minutes gone past 2. I am Gabriella, welcoming you to Family Matters every Monday at 2 p.m. We get to discuss everything family matters on the show. I've got with me in the studio, as I always do, Pastor Wisdom Osiri. Good afternoon to you, Pastor. Thank you for joining me on the show today.
Good afternoon. Good to see you.
Same here, always. So we've been on The Extraordinary Man. This is the third week now, I believe. It's been quite the conversation. Last week was so amazing. I still remember a few points from last week. It was just that amazing. And a lot of people, not just myself, have been looking forward to this week. So let's get right into it. What are we doing for today?
All right. So I think I even got more feedback from women than men.
I know. I mean, I told you last week how it was really amazing for me as well.
I got a lot of feedback from women. But hey, so women, stay tuned today. We're going to have an amazing conversation today. So again, I'm going to try to do what I've got to do sharp so that you can have time for us to have conversations. At the same time, I also want you to be encouraged as a man that we're focusing on you, focusing on us, and it's for our own good. Okay, for our own good. So we're talking about the extraordinary man. And I recall us define that an extraordinary man is not just about achievement and breaking through all those records, setting new records, but it's about a few things that I want us to highlight. I recall saying that extraordinary man is that man that will not allow his past to define his future. The man that will not allow fear to call on him. The man that never loses hope on his ability, to do better. So today, and incidentally, is answering the question some people asked last week, which is about, I try, I fail. Sometimes I don't know what to do after I fail. Some of you ask, how many times should I fail? Before I should just give up totally. And some of those questions are kind of easy to answer. Some are difficult to answer. Some, they're not cast in stone, the answers. So you have to more like customize it for each person. Today, again, I want to say for River State and anyone listening to us from anywhere. My name is Osiri Wisdom, like you said, and with Family Matters. Today, still part 4. This is part 4 now? Yeah, 3 weeks before that's part 4. Yeah. Though we skip 1 week like that. So part 4 of the extraordinary man. And that also tells us that the fourth attribute, we want to attribute to this extraordinary man. So you can use the attribute to understand this plan. So today, we're talking about how do you bounce back from failure. An extraordinary man bounces back after a failure. I think the Bible even said the righteous man, 4 7 times, he's going to come back. Come back. Yeah. If you watch boxers, if you watch, wrestlers, you watch all of these games, boxing in particular, you see where they will hit somebody and then the person is bleeding, the eye is bleeding, the nose is torn, everything. And then he will, they'll give me a knockout. Here he's on the floor. They'll count 1. Before it's 10, around 8, 9, most of them will rise up and go right back into that fight. And if you are, a very good fan of boxing, or you take, keen interest in boxing, you realize that some of those people that end up winning were people that have lost, many times, or people that got, knocked down. Knocked down. They were knocked down, but they refused to be knocked out. They were knocked down, and then you see the referee counting, but they refuse. So sometimes life will knock you down, but don't count yourself out.
Wow.
That's an extraordinary man. That's the man that can draw strength from somewhere quite stronger than just his physical strength. So if you're a man here, life this year has kind of hit you hard. Things have happened that you did not plan for them to happen. Things have happened that you did not anticipate they're going to happen. But yet, you are still standing. Yet, you are standing one more time longer than the time that you were knocked down. If you stand up 10 times after you have been knocked down 9 times, you are still an extraordinary man. You still, get back up. And that's what happens, that after a while, people will not ask you how many times you were knocked down. They're just concerned about what ultimately happened. And then you see that ultimately you are standing, ultimately you are becoming that voice that other people want to listen to. You're becoming that person that can help other people rise and become the extraordinary man. Right. So today, the ways you're going to bounce back from a seemingly failure, I want you to please take a paper, take your note. I want you to write as fast as you could possibly write. Today is going to help you massively. If you know any man, get your friend to join us in this meeting. And I think we're also on Facebook. Maybe Gabby will tell us how those of you that want to watch us live on Facebook can watch us, or just share the video. Gabby.
Yes, absolutely. You can go on our Facebook page right now. We're streaming live, so you can watch as Pastor Wisdom Osiri takes us through this journey on the show today at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That's our Facebook page at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. So you can join us live and drop your comments as the conversation continues.
Okay, so ways that you are going to, bounce back after a failure. First of all, I want you to know that failure is a part of life. Success sometimes is failure turned inside out. So sometimes when people that we consider as success, as extraordinary, if they were to tell you how many times they have failed, how many times they tried, they didn't succeed, and you'll be amazed. Okay, so something happened over the weekend. I'm just hoping that you did not listen to it. Okay, so I was asked to do reef ethics last week. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
By Her Excellency the Governor of River State.
No, that's something.
So when I did that, it's not that to be asked to do was the something. The something is that when I was done with the English version, they asked me to do the pidgin version. Oh my
now
God.
I understand why you say you hope we did not listen.
Oh my dear.
Oh my goodness.
So somebody from your sister station here saw me to say, "Oh, Pastor, I didn't know you were the one, but I heard you on Wazobia, and it was when you called your name. I said, wow, really? Pastor speaking in pidgin like this?" She was saying it was good. I said, no, it's not good. It was good. I said, well, coming from you, I can take it as a compliment. But I said, do you know how many times I recorded that pidgin version? The English one was just one hand. I didn't have to repeat anything. But the pidgin on, man, why don't they finish? I can tell you. So I had to go back and forth. But I'm hoping that next time I'm able to do those pidgin stuff, I will do better. So I'm trying to say, so somebody that now she listened to it, she didn't know how many times I had to try. And I had to, please erase that, please delete that, until I got something I felt that represents my brand of excellence, and I was okay, this can go. So you want to know that success is not what it seems sometimes just, on the surface. Everyone that you think is achieving anything worthwhile, he or she had failed at some point in his or her life. So you're a man, you're listening to us. I want you to know that you can still win, you can still conquer, and begin to achieve things that are so powerful. All right? You need to know that sometimes failures and setbacks all come before you begin to have an amazing success. And whether it is Jeff or Bill Gates, they experience many up and downs in their lives before they became what they are. Whether it's, Steve Jobs or Henry Ford, those people, they all experienced a lot of things that, they could have just given up. I think he's the man that invented the light bulbs. They asked, that was Edison, right? They asked how many times did he fail? He said, if I failed once, I only discovered ways it couldn't work. So that tells you about perspective, how you need to see the things you consider as failures. So if you're a man here, that's the first thing you need to know, that failure is a part of life. Okay, sometimes the bigger the tougher the challenge or your goal, the more you're going to have chances of not hitting it, all right, until you finally hit it. So someone that wants to hit a small goal, maybe somebody that wants to save, 10,000 for a year, that person can easily save that. But you wanted to save 1 billion, you see. So you see that the bigger the more challenging for you to go there. And that's sometimes why you might, experience some more failures in quote than other people. So failure is better, done when you're just starting, right? When you're just starting. Sometimes it's bitter. It's not something you want to experience all the time because it can totally disseminate you. You can just go flat and be depressed if you constantly fail, and it seems as though you're not getting back or achieving something powerful, with your life. So I'm going to be showing you things I believe you're going to do that can help you, come back. All right. I've had my own things that I fell in and I came back. So I want you to please jot these things down. The first thing we mention is that, failure is a part of life. Okay, having said that, number one, you have to accept that this thing happened. One of the things that make failure deeper is denial. You have to accept this thing has happened. This challenge, it just happened. The things that I if it's Bible, you say Job said the things I feared most have finally happened. Yeah. So you want to accept the fact that this thing has happened. And when you accept that fact that this thing has happened, it helps you to begin to find ways to accept it and then begin to do something about it. Because if you don't accept it, you fall into the category of people that say they're living in denial. So now you're living in denial because that is not important. That's not the way to go. So you don't have to deny it. You don't have to, hold back. You just have to yield to the fact that it has
actually happened.
It has happened. Yeah, it has happened. It's like sportsmen. I was listening to the interview by our brother Granted. What's his name again? Anthony Joshua. After he lost his fight, and then they asked him, "Is this the toughest fight you have fought?" He said, "No, that's the toughest fight. That every fight is unique and different. But more importantly, he has to go and study and find out where he didn't do well, and rather want to improve on that area." I mean, his answer was just very sweet. He got it right. So you want to know that it's happened. So for him now to deny that I'm still with the bets are all gone, all the 3 or 4, they're all gone. So God. He cannot come and say I have them. So the moment you put yourself into that place, then number 2 thing you want to do is that you want to take responsibility.
Take responsibility.
So this had happened. Okay. Yes, there might be other people that contributed to it. So you don't want to go into blame game. You don't want to be blaming people, blame your wife, blame your children, blame your staff. Because if you fall down and you are pointing your finger at blaming somebody else, you have not learned much.
Wow.
Yeah. If you fall, okay,
wow.
You have to. Yeah, others may have tripped you. People may have put slippery things. Different contribution people may have made, but ultimately, if you really want to bounce back, I'm not saying if you want to blame people. If you want to blame people, you can go ahead and blame, all you want. But if you really want to get back, you have to now accept responsibility. The first one, accept it happened. Number 2, take responsibility and say, you know what, I'm going to do something quite different about this. You have to own it. Own that failure, own that. There is no shame in this because everybody too has failed before.
Yes.
So you have to own it. My business failed. I cannot continue this business. My relationship is down, out. We're no longer there. We're not on the same page. And then, when you do that, you now begin to look at, because what are the choices, the decisions that you took that brought you to that point, so that you now do something quite different. A wise man said, if you are repeating the same thing and expecting a different result, that's one definition of insanity. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result is one definition of insanity. So you want to do something different. You're an extraordinary man. We have already painted the picture that you are the type of man that can, get back when you have a setback. If life hits you like it does, if life hits you, let me encourage you, don't fall down on your face, fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can always get up.
Wow. If you can look up,
you can always get up. If life hits you hard, try. I'm not saying you shouldn't fall, because sometimes to fall is the only way to save yourself. So you just fall. Yeah.
Sometimes falling is the only way to save yourself.
That's the only way to save yourself, really. Yeah. I mean, I can give you some few examples. Like when people are throwing, stray bullets, they'll say you should lie down flat. It's a way to save yourself.
Yeah.
It's like people that have had a relation that suffered from fainting, syncope. So when you and sometimes when people fall like that, many ignorant people, they're trying to lift them up. The best thing to do is allow the person lie down flat like
Wow.
that. Yeah, because it's trying to get oxygen back to the brain and blood flowing, and oxygenated blood going back to the brain. So, but when you are quick to lift the person up, you are weakening. That's why some people now, enter into stroke or other kind of traumatic or trauma, that is quite destructive. So, if life hits you, you might want to fall. But when you fall, number one, try to fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can always get up.
Wow. That's profound.
That's profound. That's profound. Yeah. But when you fall face down, you're looking on the floor. You don't know what is happening. But when you can look up, you can still see beauty. You can still see a reason why you need to rise up. And some of these reasons can be reasons beyond you. It can be your wife. It can be your children. It can be something that can just make you say, for the purpose of this, I'm going to rise up. For the purpose of this, I'm an extraordinary man. For the purpose of this, I'm going to do whatever it takes, because I know I can still be great. Part of my teaching in that meeting, the recorded version of Reef Ethics was, you can still be great again. So you want to know as a man, this thing has happened. I'm going to, fail, but I'm going to fail, fall on my back. And then if you want to say you are failing, you fail forward.
Fail forward.
Fail forward. Yeah, fail forward. Which means sometimes you win, sometimes you learn something. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn something. So you are learning something. Let that fall be like you are going to school. Turn that fall to a school. And then you can now begin to dissect what happened, all right? And you are going to learn something. So next time, that you fail today does not guarantee you not fall tomorrow, but you're going to fall more intelligently.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, you're going to fall more intelligently, because now people sometimes try to do, talk more about how we fail. But I've also realized that you need to do an autopsy of both your failure and your success. Anything you don't have, can't study it, you can't repeat it. So if you succeed at something, you need to also study, so why did I succeed? So I'll be able to repeat it, okay? But what I think is important in bouncing back is for you to, one, accept that this has happened. Number two, accept responsibility. And we are saying when you are going to fall on your back. Fall on your back, and then, look up. I think it was David that said, I will look up to the hills from where comes my help. So you have to look. Sometimes there's a connection between what we are seeing and the energy that comes within us. I'm going to tell 2 stories here. There's a woman. I read her story about how, her child, how children can, be, there can be something. Let me leave it at that. So the woman had a flat tire, and she's trying to change the tire. And then, how you have to use jack to raise the other side up. And so she's trying to change the tire, and then, doing all that, and then tell the child, please stay inside the car. You are still small. This car can carry you. Don't bother. Then she wanted to go and get something. No sooner has she, left to go and get the stuff, the young man came down, highlighted from the vehicle, and went and started fiddling with that, and the thing fell on him. And as he screamed, the mother heard the cry and ran towards him. Literally, I'm talking about a real life story. Literally used her hand without any extra help, lifted the car and threw the car over and pulled the child out. Of course, now the child bone broken, sick, and they tried to solve that. Now, guess what happened? People were amazed. Even herself was amazed that she could put that whole car up. They weigh in tons, to leave that thing up. Now, guess what happened when she was done with that? They wanted to see, can she repeat it again? They now brought a 50 kg, like a bag of cement or rice or something, for her to lift it on her shoulder. She couldn't carry it. Suddenly you realize that when certain circumstances come an unusual reserve energy.
Wow.
Your adrenaline will run, it will rush in such a way that your blood vessels will be at an age to just make something happen. It's like the difference between running when a dog is pursuing you and when a lion is pursuing you. I like the way you're laughing. I'm sure you know the difference is clear. Yeah, when a lion is
That's
after you.
a very good example.
Oh yeah, when a lion is after you, you'll be amazed that you can jump down from 2-story building and continue to run. Your leg might even break, but you won't feel the pain there until you're in safety.
Yes.
That's how powerful looking up is. So I hear a lot of people say, I've fallen, I've done this in different areas of their life. So you fell in business, you fell in your career, you fell in relationship, you fell morally, you fell different, anything, whatever failure that is, look up. When you look up, there's hope. When you look up, you're saying, I can get back up. When you look up, you're saying, I can bounce back. When you look up with this mindset that sometimes every setback is a setup for a new rising. So it's a setup that you can, you know how people throw javelin?
Yeah.
You know, when they want to throw javelin, what do? They first of all lean backwards, and then you think that this guy is gone, he can't do it. But he's trying to get momentum to be able to hit that thing, go real far, whether it's, shot put, whether it's javelin, or is it because they call that again?
Yes.
That and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
So whatever it is that you're doing, you see these people, they will first of all take their hand and their body, lean backwards before they throw that. That's what you need to do when you feel that you have failed. And that's will begin to help you to bounce, back. The next thing I want you to do is to not only learn, document what you have learned. Sometimes we learn something and we don't document them, and we lose what we have learned. We want to document them. I have a book I call, Wisdom from Life. Wisdom from Life is, for me, is like lessons that I learned from everyday living. All right, so you can call your own any name you want, but that's what I call mine. I just call it Wisdom from Life. And it's a documentation of different things I've learned, but, from my own experience and other people's experiences, because you can't live long enough to make all the mistakes yourself. So you have to learn from other people's mistakes also, and then begin to, achieve that goal that you have. So don't destroy your goal. I was listening to a woman, that shared one. We were having this meeting in church where I pastored the Wisdom Place Church. So the woman made a comment. She said, my business went, had challenge, and my business went down. Then he said something. She said, I shut down the shop, but I did not shut down my vision.
Wow.
You see that? I shut down the shop because the shop was not making profit. She was going more in debt, possibly because it says I fell. But she documented the things she has, passed through. She was not sharing with us the lessons. And then she said, you know what? I shut down the shop, but I did not shut down the vision. I didn't shut down the dream. I didn't give up on the dream. So sometimes you need to hibernate. I'm sure your laptops have a hibernating feature. You hibernate to get strength. I mean, the local palace, we say, he that fights and run will live to fight another day. So sometimes you take failure that way. I didn't give it my best shot. I didn't get the best result. But document the things you have learned. You see, documentation helps you to remember. Our minds will think thousands, maybe millions of thoughts every day. So you can't allow a precious experience where you have learned something to stay at the phase of thought. You want to transfer it from that thought to where you can crystallize it, so you can visit it again. So document. That's why people use journals. Funny enough, some people use their journals to only write about what they ate, or other people use their journal to write about who made them angry and how they're not going to forgive somebody. Well, I'm not here to tell you what you're going to write on your journal. I'm just asking you that journal the things you're learning from these 4 that you have. All right. And then this part is an emotional one. The next one is an emotional one. Don't become overwhelmed by that failure. In other words, don't dwell there. Don't dwell in that past, because see, a man that does not have a future, or does not have a dream of a future, always goes back to the past. I'm going to say that again. A man that does not have a future will always return to his or her past. even sick, I don't know whether it's a good thing to say, but I'm sure it's already a common knowledge. Even security agencies, when people commit crime, one of the first places they go looking for, they will track you what you have always been doing. So if the person always goes to club, they wait for him, give him 2, 3, 4 days, 1 week.
1 day.
Maybe that same day, they know you're going to go back to that club. All right, they know you're going to go back to somewhere, that joint. All right, because if you don't have a future of a plan for where you're going, a dream for where you're going, you're always going to return back to the past. Wow. And that's why you don't want to dwell in a negative experience, because it's emotionally draining. It's emotionally draining. So we're going to open the phone line maybe in another 3 minutes or so. I didn't want to have a conversation and answer people directly, but I want you to know, before we even open the phone line, as a man, things will come, and you have to find a word to, if you like, use the word detox. You have to remove it. We're not about detoxification that has to do with our physical body, but we also have to do it emotionally. All right, the worst way to deal with a failure is to take it to heart. I'm going to say that again. The worst thing to do to a failure is to take it to heart. But when you take it to heart, you begin to grow wings. What did not have head before, you now get head for it. You give wings, finger, leg, hand. You become bigger. You know how people say you turn a little mole to a big mountain? Yeah. So you want to make sure that you want anything you focus on expands. Anything you focus on expands. So if you're focusing on that failure is going to expand. And that's why some people, when they have a bad day, they look for somewhere to vent. They look for somewhere to cool off. All right. I read something that really blessed me. It said, don't make a bad day become 2. In other words, if Monday is not bad, it was bad, don't turn Tuesday as well. So don't make one bad day to become 2. So you want to end things fast. Keep a short record of some of these things. All right. It might mean, keeping up from an environment or from a person for a while, enough for you to re-engage, to life, because you cannot constantly isolate yourself. Life is not lived that way. So, but those people or those places that created such pain, you might want to just, hold back. But if it's somebody you are not, planning to throw away, if somebody you're not planning to throw away, like your spouse or your children, where are you going to? I read something that got me I was so happy. It's a small comedy sketch somebody did. The guy wrote, he had a problem with the girlfriend, and then he told the girlfriend, any small thing, he said, heartbreak, I will leave you. Think I'll leave you like that? I better go and sleep tomorrow, continue that relationship.
Right.
Oh my God! He said this month is a record.
Yeah.
Is that? I think this
is that easy?
After
all the work.
After the work.
To woo you.
No. I'm not gonna lose you like that. You gotta sleep tomorrow because look at this thing.
Wow.
Oh Lord, I just love that. That small drama piece. It was powerful. And I could just hold on laughing. So that's how you're going to deal with life. And the moment he said that, you could see that he handled it differently.
Yeah.
Sometimes perception is very powerful, and perceptions or perspective sometimes is stronger than reality. So something that looks like a failure, you can use your perception or perspective to become something big. So if you have a paper or a pen, write that down. Perception or perspective sometimes is stronger than reality. Okay, some even go directly and say perception is reality, because it's how 2 people can look at one particular thing and see 2 different things. So how you see it? If you want me to add Bible passage on that for you, it says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." So when the people of Israel were going to conquer, Jericho and all that, they were spies. Some 10 came with bad report, 2 came with a good report, and the other 10 say, we're like grasshoppers before these people, and so were we in the eyes of the people. All right, so you want to make sure you have the right perception over things. Don't dwell on them. That's the worst thing you can do. You can worry yourself to the point that you can become immobile. You can't even act. You can't move. You can't do anything else. So, and then you want to begin to get over it by moving on to something different that can boost your energy, and this thing, you can achieve this thing by creating what they call mental toughness. Mental toughness is your ability to look at challenges that could have silenced you, and then decide to do something more positive about it. So you want to have that, and then begin to look at the coffee side of life. Every event has these two sides. It depends on how you look at it. People say if you have a glass of water and it's half, you can say half full or half empty. All right. So a positive person will say it's half full because it's expected to full. A negative thinking person is half empty. So why are you looking at that incident? All right. Or those things that you think that you have fed. And I think that the few things that we have given to you can help you to begin to put yourself in a positive frame. But lest I forget this, it just hit me right now, is that you also need to overcome failure, find someone to serve.
Wow. Okay,
let me give you a good example. So again, let me add Bible on that. So you see Ruth. Ruth had another sister-in-law called, following sister-in-law, or daughter-in-law called Oprah. And so Oprah lost her husband, Ruth lost her husband, then their chief widow, Naomi, also lost the husband. So,
okay.
And that's not a good place to be, really. Three people, association of widows, that's not a good place to be. It's not a good place to be, I can tell you, all right? So, and here was, Naomi encouraging them to go back. And then she painted a very powerful picture. It says, what, my husband is dead. He's late. And even if I married today, okay, I can't have child. If this is I married today, give birth today, are you going to wait for the child to grow? In other words, there's hanging around me, there's no hope. And Oprah at first said, no, we'll go with you. But after she explained that, Oprah said, you know what? I'll go back. Give her a hug and go. And then she turned to Ruth and said, Ruth, go back. Ruth said, I'm not going back. And then she made a very profound statement. Say, where you die, I'll die. My God with my God. I think the Message translation actually said, even death cannot separate us. But look at what I understood in my own thinking. Oprah saw a hopeless end, and Ruth saw an endless hope. One person saw an endless hope, and that person saw a hopeless end. And the same event, the same statement, but they saw it differently. Guess what? So Ruth finally followed Naomi. If your Bible says that's the book of Ruth, and then followed her, and then went to start serving. She should have been angry, calling her witch. You know how to call it this side? Is it witch or witch? How did they call it this side?
I don't know.
Like calling her winch or senior winch, but yet she serves. Both of them will still wake up. Ruth wake up in the morning and go to see what she can glean and bring food and say, Ma, there's food to eat. Wow. And that's because of that. She turned the energy she would have been using to be mourning to serve.
Wow.
As she was serving, she ultimately married one of the richest men in that city. His name is called Boaz. I like the way his name sounds. His name is
really heavy.
Heavy Boaz, And he was really a billionaire Boaz, So imagine that. The story of Oprah was never told again. But Ruth constantly changed that. So that's why they say if nobody's smiling at you, you smile at somebody. If nobody's encouraging you, look for someone that has a less problem than you and encourage the person. So you say, I failed, look for another failure and encourage that person. Because it's what you give, that's what you receive back. So if you give encouragement, you're going to reap encouragement back. If you were doing business in billions and now your money leads to millions, and someone looking for just 5,000 to start a business, if you don't mind, give that person. It's an amazing principle. It's a small principle that have changed the trajectory of people's life and businesses. Here are people there.
Amazing. We have about 14 minutes, so let's just get the ball rolling. The phone lines are open. You can call in now with your questions. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. You can also call 0817-923-0007 or 0817-923-0009. The WhatsApp number is 0809 030 6416, 0809 030 6416. We're also streaming live on Facebook, so you can drop your questions on there at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Good afternoon. All right, please call us back 0817 923 0002 0003 0007 or 0009. A comment here, no name on this comment, but it just says enjoying your program. This one here says your guest must be listening to Liz Brown on replay.
Oh my God, I love that.
All right, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, listen to Les Brown also. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
No, when you were talking about, I mean, I had a question earlier, but let me ask this, from what you mentioned just recently, failing forward. I'm going to ask a question in that regard. But when it comes to serving, so you have failed or you are mourning a failure, you've been at a position where you know that, look, you've tried it all and you've messed up big time. In our climb, how can you position yourself? How do you identify opportunities to serve? And in what regard do you serve?
Okay, so you serve from your area of strength. Okay, so Naomi, for instance, just food is what she needed, and Ruth could get food from going to glean from Boaz's field. And so she was just able to provide what she had. Sometimes, you know how most times when one thing fails, or when we fail in one thing, we think we are failures all around. No, there is still other things doing well. Maybe your business is not doing well. Your health is okay. Maybe your health is aired, but your life is working. There must be an aspect of your life that is okay. Use that aspect of your life to start. Number two, look for, our society right now, and, the way our nation is, very globally, there are a lot of hurting people, okay? But you cannot be singing on social media or ringing bell around your estate, to talk about how people are going to, come to you to find, solace or find help and all that. So as people, have conversation with you, you want to see how much you can help. Again, don't put yourself where you seem as though you are caged, as though if you don't do it, nothing, good is going to happen to that person. Just do as much as you can. That's what I think that is vital. First of all, know I still have something good. One area may not have worked well. There are many other areas that are working well in my life.
Now, when it comes to what you mentioned prior to this, you were giving yourself out of that environment or that situation. But like you gave an example, when it's your spouse, for instance, or when it's your child or your mother or father, people you cannot necessarily get away from, how do you handle that kind of situation and ensure that you're not dwelling in that situation?
All right, so you do, even though you're living with people, you should also still create a culture that allows you to have what they call me time. Me time, it's just your space, that you don't need to, again, stay there for 3 hours, for 3 weeks, all by yourself, but let me just leave it at that, me time. Because, you see, you have to be okay before you can help people. I'm sure when you were flying, whether it's local or international, they will tell you, if at the first day I heard it, I felt that they were being insensitive, teaching us to be selfish. They said, please, in case of loss of cabin, there's automatically oxygen mask will drop. He said, first of all, fix yourself up, before you help somebody, even before you help a child. I was not happy. I said, I do help my child first, now before I help myself. I do mine. But then I realized you cannot be drowning and be saving somebody at the same time. You have to be helping people from the place of safety, from the place of, that's what that is talking about. So you have to be okay to help. So your spouse, your children need to know, mommy need to rest now. Please don't disturb your mommy. She needs, just let's give her some time. And people have a way of, none of us can boil forever. No matter how angry you are, you can't boil forever. After a while, you have to start cooling down. You have to cool down. Yeah.
All right, we have some comments here. St. Obed says, good afternoon. Thank you so much, Pastor, for these great lessons. Just an additional advice that you don't stay down for too long because one may miss the countdown time, like in boxing.
Correct. I love that guy. I love the guy. Thank you for that. Yeah, you stay too long, they'll count you out. You're out.
So you can fall down, but don't be down. Don't stay down for too long.
Too long. No. Life is not. The world is not waiting for. The clock is not going to stop for anybody. So it's moving. So yeah.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You're welcome. We can barely hear you. Can you speak up?
Okay, I'm Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Jeremiah, you need to speak clearly. We cannot hear you. Oh dear. Jeremiah, please call back so that we can get what exactly you were trying to say. You have to call back in good time. Humphrey from Port Harcourt says, good afternoon, sir. Please, I want you to highlight the points. I didn't get that clearly.
Which point?
I think the point you break down today.
All of them. Wow, that's
That's
some
a lot.
work.
That's
Okay,
a lot.
so why not we advise him if he's on Facebook to go to Facebook and watch it again and take his time to, because whether it's the point I raised and the ones that, I try to explain. One of maybe I don't know the one that will help him more. So
Yes.
just give him the Facebook.
Yeah, so Humphrey, if you're listening, please go on Facebook. The conversation is on there. We're streamed live, so you can just go watch The Extraordinary Man on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. At Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That is for you, Humphrey. So we have about 6 minutes or even less to wrap the conversation up. Now, when talking the extraordinary man, sometimes, it's a different case for women, when it comes to handling failure to how men handle failure. So like the example you gave of Ruth in the Bible and Orpah, and how Ruth was able to channel that season of failure in her life to something good. You would find that, and also experts also say that men and women process differently. So for men in particular, what would you say they can do to process in a healthy way, wherein it doesn't affect the family?
Yeah, it's a good question. Good question right there. I mean, there are many, differences in how men and women process things. One clear one, a big one, is that women, process externally, men process internally. So if a man has what is troubling him, he's not likely to come and call you and say, my husband, see, in most marriages, there is somebody I always get, we need to talk. And the people that used to say that.
Of course. no, we.
And most men, once their wife say, we need to talk. Don't worry about it. Oh God, deliver me today. So you're not likely to see most men say, we need to talk. Or I need you to come and listen to me. So we'll either try to internalize it and then somehow want to solve that by ourselves, or indirectly find solution to it. Okay, so my advice therefore is that we need to know as men that the life of other people revolves around us also. In fact, this question I've been asked in one of our couples meeting in church one day, and then the men say, just when we say we are trying to process, allow us space to process. The woman say, well, I allow you space, but in the meantime, just know that this your sulking, this your behavior is also creating another
problem
for us. Okay, we are willing to support you, are willing to do whatever you need to do, but we don't want you to stay there all your life because you just want us to give. So again, like our brother said, please, when we are taking that time, let's not overstretch it. Let's also, number two, I think we mentioned that second edition or so, was you need to seek help. All right, this is almost something automatic that makes some men think that if I seek help, it means I'm weak. No.
True.
No, you need to seek help. You need to ask for help. You need to, be out there where you can, get somebody to, help you. Okay. It's look for a friend, a trusted friend, and talk that thing over with. All right. If you don't have people you can trust immediately, go online, go on YouTube, Google how do I handle when my wife say there is no food for me this night. How do I process it? You'll be shocked that there's things you can see there. When my wife says, you stupid man, what do I do? You see answer, So if you don't want to talk to a real human being, there are some videos, there are some Google stuff that can help you. A wise man calls Google my elder brother. So you might be your elder brother at that right time too. Yeah, so what I want to use analog or the digital, find solution.
Find solutions. Sadly, we're out of time and we'll have to wrap the conversation up right now. But for those who would like to reach you personally, how can they do so?
All right. So if you want to reach me personally, I encourage you to go right now and follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, Osiri Wisdom. Okay. OSIRI, Osiri Wisdom. You can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook, and you're sure to get great value. You can also follow us on the man thing, because we're dealing with men these days. And maybe by next we talk about what we want to do for men. So the man thing NG on Instagram and on Facebook, and of course our regular For Better For Us, Facebook and Instagram also. All the three of them, you can send me a DM from there, and we can take it up from there.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Pastor,
you
for your time. It's
Thank you.
always a delight having these conversations with you on family matters. Thank you so much, and have yourself a lovely afternoon.
Thank you.
We get to wrap the conversation up right now. The curtains have been drawn on the sunny side, but we get to reopen tomorrow, 12 p.m. right after the major news, at 3 o'clock, which happens in 2 minutes. Rivers Today, right after Dial will take you on Hard Facts. I am Gabriella.